Art Lives. I'm your host, Jill Ann Collins, and welcome back to the second half of the show. I'm really excited today to have Dan Bowers from Artsfield with me today, and I'm pretty much going to pick his brain and learn all about Artsfield. Right?
That's the quick conversation to pick my brain.
That's just going to take a minute or two?
That's right.
All right. Well, I bet when you get down to the whole what you know about Artsfield, that's going to change.
Hopefully that'll be a little bit.
Yeah, because what is your actual title there, Dan? And if you kind of want to introduce yourself and tell people who you are and what Artsfield basically is, that'd be great.
Okay, so my title is president, and we're a nonprofit in Chattanooga.
Not Trump, though.
True.
President of Artsfield.
We'll take President Bowers right now, and but we're a nonprofit that's been in Chattanooga almost 50 years now. We were created in 1969. Completely local organization, created by local folks. It's all governed right here, and so for the last 48 years or so, we've been involved in trying to strengthen the community through the arts, and that's our mission: is building a stronger community through the arts. And in the time that we've been in existence, we've invested more than $75 million in the arts in Chattanooga. And so we take a lot of pride in the work that we do.
So you are a big part of what I claim frequently is that Chattanooga is a big part of the modern art. We are a city that's on fire for art. Really,
the Chattanooga has so much going on, and folks who have been here for any time know about what a different place it is than it was even 10, 20, certainly 30 years ago. And I've been in Chattanooga for almost 30 years now. It's not my home originally, but it's my home now. And to see the turnaround in the town and the can-do spirit and the great pride that everybody takes in being a Chattanoogan and in being here, and how attractive the community is now to people all the way up and down the age spectrum. It's pretty amazing. And the arts have been right in the middle of the transformation. And, there are a lot of things that make Chattanooga what it is today, and the arts are in that core of our identity.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because without the arts, when people do travel here, yes, it's a beautiful city, the scenic city, and there's mountains and trails and beautiful waterfalls and amazing lagoons that looks like you're on a movie set. But when you go into the town and you want to see art and experience the arts in general, there's pretty much endless choices.
There is, and there hasn't always been. There's always been a presence of the arts. When you dial back to our early days, back in the very late 60s and 70s, we had a symphony, we had an art museum, a great art museum in the Hunter, and there were a number of other things going on, but it wasn't prolific like it is today. And you're exactly right, Jill. I play a game in my mind sometime, and I talk to people about this, to imagine Chattanooga without the arts. Again, like you said, beautiful river city, the scenic city, a lot going on, but it would be a pretty boring place without the arts. I've talked to people about if they could envision this giant vacuum, and we're going to push it across the city, and all of the arts are going to be sucked up into the vacuum, and there goes the music, and there goes the visual arts, and there goes the performing arts, and how would it be? We tend to take it for granted.
Yeah, that makes me feel sick to my stomach, honestly.
We won't play that game anymore.
Oh, no, because what would the world be without the arts? It historically has always been a marker of society.
Exactly.
And without that, Chattanooga would still be beautiful, but we would not be growing like we're growing.
No, it's part of what makes us attractive. And it's interesting, Jill, we look at the different ways that the arts impact our community, and economic impact is one of them. And we've just done a study where we show that the nonprofit, now not for-profit galleries, not, where there's music venues that are for-profit and that sort of thing, but the nonprofit arts and culture community has over $170 million impact annually on the community. And then, too, when you think about economic development, I don't want to overplay our hand. You could say, well, Volkswagen came to Chattanooga because of the arts. Well, no, they didn't come because of the arts. But I don't think that we would have made the short list if we had been devoid of the arts. I don't think that we would have gotten on the short list. So it's a part of the equation of a great community is a vibrant arts community.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Dan. And I think Chattanooga, I've only been here about 4 years, so I did not see Chattanooga prior to the, renovation of this city. I have heard about it, that things were nothing like they are now. But coming to Chattanooga from not having been here my whole life, I hear from kids who've been here their whole lives, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
They come back.
They do. Well, and that's the way it used to be. I mean, even in the time that we've been here, you dial back 30 years, and rightly so, kids that were getting out of high school and going on to college, they could not wait to get out of Chattanooga, and they had no reason to come back. And today, not only are they beginning to recognize, they may go off to college and come back, recognize what a jewel it is and how much fun Chattanooga is and what a great place it is to live. But we have, you talk about UTC, Covenant, Southern, Lee University, and the others, that students that come here and study here and then get a taste of Chattanooga and want to stay here. They'll fight to stay here. And then you look at downtown. I mean, 30 years ago, you could have laid down in the middle of Market Street at 6 p.m. and slept soundly all night long because nothing was going on. There wasn't anybody down there. And now, I go down like on a Tuesday night at, 8 or 9 o'clock, and it's like, where did all these people come from? And the downtown living is pretty remarkable. And it's such a great mix, too. A lot of young people, but a lot of, I have friends who are my contemporary and older that are retiring, and they say, I was talking to a guy today at lunch. He and his wife have been dying to live downtown. They just found the right place, and they're moving downtown. And I don't see it stopping. I think it's just, the innovation district and all the things that's going on, and we're merger of that place where arts and technology come together, and they are cousins, and it's really pretty cool.
Yeah, I think you hit on something very important, Dan, when you mentioned the level of industry that we have in Chattanooga concerning the arts and not-for-profit. Yep. The heart of Chattanooga, the heartbeat, the artbeat of Chattanooga that I am experiencing for the most part is people of all generations with reaching out, working into the community, bringing arts to the community to make a difference. Yes. It's not self-profit so much at all. And good luck being anything but a starving artist if you're expecting to live off what you create as a visual artist. That's a tough call right there. I do sell work and have sold work all my life, which is wonderful, but I'm still, I have to have a real job, But Chattanooga, the heart of Chattanooga, the fact that Arts Build, and you mentioned the level of not-for-profit, and Arts Build is a not-for-profit.
We are.
So can you tell our listeners what exactly, if they turn to Arts Build, do you do and offer?
Sure. And it's interesting because we have been an evolving organization. As the community has evolved, we have evolved. When you dial back to our beginning, it was all about funding for a set number of arts organizations. And so we had this little club of organizations, and we would raise money for them before my time, but that's what we would do. And the simplest way to put it is it was kind of like a United Way for the arts. You'd run a campaign, you'd ask people to give, the money would be divvied up, and it'd be used in great ways to support a select number of local arts nonprofits. And that's still a part of what we do, but really we're talking about how much Chattanooga has changed. And we probably 5 or 6 years ago started looking at it, and we said, Chattanooga has changed dramatically, and we haven't that much as an organization. And so we looked deeply at what the community needed us to be and to do, and we spent a lot of time talking about that and studying that. And our board was very thoughtful in the work that they did. We looked at the entire community, at the arts community, and the place that we landed in our sweet spot now is access to the arts. We've always had a certain group that could enjoy the arts, but it hasn't always been a big tent. We had our rallying cry for a number of years was the arts are for all. And whereas it was our rallying cry, really our actions didn't follow that as closely as perhaps it could have or should have. And when we went through this planning and we focused, we ultimately focused on the community, and we said, you know, we're all about what the arts can do to make this a stronger community. And we landed on the word access and allowing more people to enjoy the arts. So now our rallying cry is more arts in more places for more people. And that's a very simple but powerful statement that drives us now. We're about a $2 million a year organization. We provide funding and we provide services. We still have that part of us that kind of operates a little bit like United Way. We raise money and give it away. But a growing part of what we do is giving grants to place arts in places where you wouldn't normally see them, into neighborhood associations, into inner city churches, into social service nonprofits, and further out in the county away from downtown. So much of the art has been concentrated downtown, and that's fine, but we want to extend our reach. So we're giving the last 3 years or so, we've given out over 100 grants totaling over $200,000 to make the arts available, in neighborhoods, at festivals, to work with young people for after school programs, to work with seniors in community centers, and it's very gratifying to do that part of the work. And then we've begun looking further than just those few organizations that we have traditionally funded. And this year we're giving out project and program grants to some smaller nonprofits, arts nonprofits that are doing some great work in the community. So we've just opened things up. So if you look at it, it comes in 2 or 3 buckets of what the things that we do. One is funding great organizations that have been around for a long time. And what we're doing there, as far as access is concerned, we're funding their efforts that allows them to go beyond themselves, that allows them to have a free night where people can come that might not be able to come, or allow them to do community outreach where they're either going out in the community or they're bringing people from the community in to them. So that's one, is those we call them mission support grants. It's grants that we give to great organizations that are doing really good work, and we say, here, this is just to help you do what you do day in and day out. It's not directed toward any particular thing they're doing. And then we have a bucket of money that we're using, and we're funding specific projects and programs within nonprofits. And it's all a volunteer-led decision-making body that meets with the organizations, and a lot of accountability, a lot of great stewardship. And then we are continuing to do the small grants that I mentioned a while ago. So
we've got a little phone call here, so let's see who's calling in. Hi, this is Jill at the Art Beat of Chattanooga. Thanks for calling.
Hey, Jill. Love your show. Appreciate your guest and your conversation.
Thank you.
Well, I wanted to ask, it's not the conversation about art serving the community and this discussion about raising money for artists and art organizations now. Is it not somehow forgetting sight of what art is really about? Is art just about community improvement? Is it really about the sociology of town life, the sociology of people helping the poor, people helping the oppressed? Is that what art is about, or is it something else? I'm somehow, as I'm listening to this conversation, getting the sense that I'm losing track of what the purpose of art is as a thing that's created by the artist in a creative act and enjoyed by the viewer of that art as a personal benefit.
Okay, good question. We'll address that for you.
Answer that question if you would. I'll listen on the air.
Thank you, caller.
Appreciate
Thank you.
Yeah, from my vantage point, art, you talk about beauty being in the eye of the beholder, and art is a lot of things to a lot of people. And to
me, it's breathing. I have to do it,
Jill,
or I feel like I'm going to die.
It's the creative process. For others of us, we're spectators, or we're the audience, and perhaps reviewing art. And all of that has validity. And for our organization, which, when you have a finite amount of money, you have a finite mission. And when we look deeply to the caller's question, as far as we're concerned, our mission is building the community and using the arts to strengthen the community. And we decided, with the finite amount of money that we have, is to turn our attention to those who would not normally be included in enjoying art. That is now that to the caller's question. That's just our take on it. That's our little slice of where we're coming from. And, you can get into art for art's sake. You can get into art as therapy. You can get into it as a part of breathing, like Jill said, that it's just something, it's what you are and who you are.
Yeah.
So it's so multifaceted. What's interesting, and again, I'm reminded of this, and this may not speak to the answer for the caller's question, but I think it's really interesting, is that we used to be known as Allied Arts. That was our name until December of 2012. And when we started to change, kind of how we acted, who we were, how we were using the funds, and that sort of thing, we actually rebranded to Arts Build as a signal to the community. If I pull out my business card, on the back of it, it says Arts Build, and it has some words here: community, Arts Build community, Arts Build appreciation, Arts Build connection, Arts Build business, Arts Build education, Arts Build insight, Arts Build us, Arts Build Chattanooga. It's an active statement about what the arts do. But honestly, as we were thinking about our rebranding, we discussed amongst ourselves whether we were going to keep art as a word in our name. Now, we quickly said, yes, we're going to.
Thank goodness for that.
There was a discussion, and I think again, what prompted this is the caller's question about what is art and what is the purpose of art. And we did a little promotion several years ago, and the name of it is "What is Art to Me?" And we asked people to take these little picture frames that we had that had "What is Art to Me" on it, and hold them up around the community and frame things that were art to them, and take a photograph and post it to a website. Intriguing. I mean, to some people, gardening is art. To some people, believe it or not, plumbing is art. To some people, and architecture is art. To others, it's the classics. It's the high art. But we, as far as Arts Build is concerned, two words that come to mind for me are imagination and creativity.
Right. And Arts Build, the caller's question being apparently feeling that we're getting off target here. Well, art, and in the first half, I gave a definition. You can find more, but it's when we are creating visual, auditory, or performing artworks, expressing the author's imaginative, intended to be appreciated for their beauty or emotional power. Right. The basis, and forgive me if I didn't cover this more so, and trying to share what Arts Build brings to the community. As an artist, I'm already, and as Dan being involved in art, we're already there in our mind about the art. So the purpose of Arts Build is related to the community. The purpose of the Art Beat of Chattanooga is also related to the community. Sure. But art is still the top topic. The arts reflect society. Society reflects art. and organizations like Arts Build and like the Heart Gallery, different not-for-profit things going on in this wonderful city with the hearts of the people here. It's all based on the actual creative souls that live here and create here. So without the actual art, you know, like a piece that I brought called Michael, that's to me a very spiritual piece. To me, it represents angelic movement. It has an infinity symbol kind of in there as well. Faces looking upward with light coming down, illuminating them. And for me, this is a spiritual piece. Without the art, we couldn't have Arts Build. Without the appreciation of art, we couldn't have the Art Beat of Chattanooga. So, you know, we're certainly still focused on the beauty and the wonder of art.
Sure.
What is art? We could have like a 3-week debate or longer about that. Like you said, plumbers,
Exactly.
you know, there is a definition for art. It's something we're creating
Yeah.
to evoke an emotional response and connection. So dance, poetry, visual arts. Does Arts Build handle anything other than visual art?
Oh, yes.
So you're within all the arts.
Yes, we, you know, the organizations that we have traditionally supported and still do include visual arts, performing arts. It runs the gambit, you know, and I know our time doesn't allow us here, but just one other thing that I will mention is that we are deeply involved in arts education in Hamilton County Schools.
Love that. I love that.
And we're investing over $100,000 each year in giving elementary school students the opportunity to attend curriculum-based performances. And last year, we touched or sent almost 12,000 students in grades 1 through 4. And this year, we're adding kindergarten. And that, to me, that has to do with access. Many of those kids had never been downtown. Many of them had never been to a live performance. Many of them had never been to Tivoli and or wherever it might be happening. And that is, we see as our charge is to make that link to create that experience for those students, which keeps them engaged and really involves them in their education.
Exactly a point I make frequently, Dan, is if we pull the arts away from our students, our children, their brain is missing a huge portion of development.
Exactly.
Creative thinking, connections that happen in the brain. So that's where, in answer to the caller's question too, the arts includes all of what we're talking about,
yes.
with people reaching into the community, bringing it to the community,
yep.
appreciating it, all the forms of the arts, be it visual, performance arts,
yep.
all of this. It's all related. And, you know, I'm really excited to have Dan Bowers from Arts Build here today. Our time is just about gone. It flies by. I'd love to have you back, Dan, and talk some more about all of this.
I'd be happy to. Jill.
Feels like we just touched the surface of what is really going on with our Arts Build in Chattanooga. So, you know, check it out. Go online. What's the website they can look up Arts Build?
Artsbuild.com.
Artsbuild.com.
For it, but artsbuild.com, and we have an email we send out every Thursday. I think our time's up.
It is. Isn't that fast? This is the Art Beat of Chattanooga on Chattanooga Radio. Thank you, Dan Bowers from Arts Build, for being my guest today. It's been great. Hope y'all have a great weekend. Go enjoy downtown Chattanooga. I know it's going to be hot out, so stay cool and drink a lot of water. See you soon.
Always look